There we go. Happy Friday, everybody. Very exciting. We're going to add some CSS to our HTML file today. Let me turn the music down, actually. There we go. Just a little bit in the background, you know, just to fill in the dead air. Okay. Let me actually pull up all my stuff. All right, Odin project is where we're gonna start. We'll go straight to foundations. Actually, I don't want to do that because we're gonna have our terminal right there. Gonna scroll down to our CSS foundations. Here's where we're gonna be adding our CSS style elements to our HTML file. So I will open up a terminal, and then I'm just going to code. And then we'll have a terminal inside of VSCode, so I'm not gonna, yes, I trust. Oh, there's a lot in here. I didn't mean to do that. Oops, yes, I trust. Enable features, and then I'm gonna exit out because I'm scared. Let's look at, I'm only in the GUI because I am a little unsure of where I had saved. So I'm actually going to move Odin recipes to the desktop. That way it's like easier for me to remember where it is. So I'll open our terminal again, and then I'm going to cd to desktop. And now I'm going to cd into Odin recipes. And here, I'm going to say code dot. And it decided to give us 2 Visual Studio windows. That's fun. Gonna see which one gives us what we need. Alright, so it looks like this one is the Winneman. Will you do what I want you to, please? No, just let it do its thing. We're gonna minimize it though. Great. Oh. Oh my. What did I not save? I'm just gonna check the Git status here because I don't know what's going on with this. Oy vey. Okay, cd desktop. cd. Well, I have tried to save, so we're gonna just exit out of that. Okay, that was fun. That was a little spook city for me, personally. But That's fine. I have tea today instead of hot chocolate. If anyone was wondering, I have moved on from the hot chocolate for this morning. Not permanently though, I will come back to the hot chocolate because it's delicious. It's a long page. Alright, so we're going to the CSS repository and we are going to do the foundations exercises 1 through 6. So here's the CSS repository. That's CSS repo. Okay. These exercises are a series of CSS-related tasks intended to complement the HTML and CSS content on the Odin project. I like that it's 1.4% JavaScript. It's a very important 1.4%. Okay, these should only be done when instructed, which is what we're doing now. We were instructed to do this. When doing these, please use all documentation and resources you need to accomplish them. We're not intended to have any of this memorized. Check the docs, use Google, do what you need to. We're gonna do it. Contributing if you have a suggestion to improve an exercise. Feel free to open an issue after reading our contribution guide in the main top repo. So fork and clone this repository. To learn how to fork a repository, see the GitHub to fork a repo. And then we've done cloning before. We just need to git clone and then copy the SSH. I might turn the music up again. It's gonna just take me a little minute to figure out my mix, you know? Okay. Okay, fork a repo. Ooh, too fast. Okay. About forks. It's a new repo that shares code invisibility with upstream. Forks are used to iterate ideas or changes before they're proposed back to the upstream repo. So when fixing a bug, you can fork the repo, make the fix, and then submit a pull request to the project owner. So this is very useful for like working on teams and stuff. We have already set up Git. Okay. Okay, so you can just click the fork button. So in the top right corner of the page, click fork. So create a fork. By default, it's named the same, so CSS exercises, and then I'm gonna say fork of CSS from TOP. Then I'll just create fork. This should carry the README with it, and so we'll be able to finish reading the README from this page instead. Huzzah! We made it. Okay. So we've made the fork, and then we will clone this. So go to the same exercise directory and open the HTML file in your browser. For each exercise, read the README thoroughly before starting any work. Each README has a self-checklist. Use this to ensure you haven't missed any important details in your implementation. Make your edits in index.html or the style CSS files in order to make the output in your browser look like the desired outcome images. Depending on the instruction of the exercise, oh, they're coming back. Every time I sit down to do this, I'm so excited to get started on this stream, and then the yawns come. It's like a looming threat. I'm like, I'm not tired, I'm not bored, it's just they happen to me and I'm not about it. I'm not about it. Sorry for my tea slurping sound, that was gross. Okay. Depending on the instructions of each exercise, you may only need to make edits in one of these files. Cool. Once you successfully finish an exercise, check Top's solution and compare it with yours. You should not be checking solution until you finish it, because that's cheating. And then keep in mind that Top's solution is not the only solution, so if your solution differs wildly, but still passes the self-check criteria, feel free to ask in the chat room on Discord. Don't submit your solutions in this repo. As many any PRs that do that will be closed without merging. And then here's some hints. So we're going to go into foundations. 1 through 6 is the only ones in here, so that's awesome. So we're just going to open this file. Then here's the README for this file. Okay, methods for adding CSS. In this exercise, oof, that's a little bright. I'm going to pull up so we don't have to stare at that the whole time. Okay, in this exercise, you're going to be practicing adding CSS to an HTML file using all 3 methods, so external CSS, internal, and then inline. You should only be using type selectors for this exercise when adding styles via the external and internal methods. You should also use keywords for color, blue, instead of RGB or hex values. Sounds good. There are 3 elements for you to add style to, each of which uses a different method of adding CSS to it, as noted in the outcome image below. All other exercises will have a CSS file provided and linked for you. Great. But for this exercise, you'll have to create and link it to the HTML file yourself. This is all about practicing using these different methods and getting the syntax correct. So quick tip, don't worry about the details that are not specifically mentioned in the exercise or self-check section. Because the desired outcomes are screenshots, your browser may show different font, the colors may appear different on your machine, or the spacing between elements may look different. Only concern yourself with the specific items you're supposed to be learning for each exercise. The properties you need to add to each element are a div with a red background, white text, and a font size of 32 pixels, center aligned and bold. Whew, that's a lot. Okay. P, a green background, white text, and a font size of 18 pixels, and then a button, an orange background, and a font size of 18 pixels. So I've not made a button before, but we're gonna figure that out. All right, index.html. I'm gonna go back and we are gonna just open this a little bit wider. So that's our boilerplate methods for adding CSS. Style meager external. I would like to be styled internal, and then inline method. I would like to clone you. Go to file. No. I'm not sure why I'm so confused. Because we're not, I don't want to go in there yet, because that's less than ideal for sure. We'll go back to the main README and see. Okay, maybe this is where we clone, and we just clone the whole repo, the parent repo. That seems excessive, but there wasn't an option for it in the subdirectories. I cannot listen to the song right now. It's a little extra. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to go back to my VS Code and pull up a terminal. And then CD out. And then CD back to desktop. There we go, we're in desktop now, and then we're going to get clone and then paste. Paste. Cloning CSS exercises, great, we're going to CD into it. CSS exercises. Still seems a little strange to me. Why is that a no? Okay, it's supposed to be there, so we're gonna try that again. Maybe I spelled it wrong. Would not be the first time. CSS exercises. Okay, we spelled it wrong. Sorry about that. Classic. Alright, we're in there. I'm just gonna check out what's in here. I think it's gonna be the same as what we did before, so I'm gonna CD into foundations. Foundations. Now we're in foundations. And I'm going to do this again just so that I have a good understanding. Okay, so CD 01 CSS methods, not ethods. CD 01 CSS. I'm just imagining right now if like every dev spoke every keystroke, that would be a little bit annoying. I'm just, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make that a little smaller. Put us over here. Make this a little bit smaller too. Okay. Come on. Thank you. Okay. ls-f. All right. Code dot. Great. All right, here's our index.html. Desired outcome PNG. Okay. read the README. We did that. Read this. Use. Okay, and then we'll check the self checklist. And then I don't know if it has a. There is something going on outside. I am sure you can hear it. The sirens are going off. I hope whoever is having an experience is safe. It's a lot of sirens. Okay. Sorry about that. It's just taking a minute. Cool. So I don't think we have a touch style. Okay, now we have a style sheet. I'm going to go back to our foundations page and scroll back up to check out how we actually call on our style sheet in HTML. Oh, and it's just like we would call on any other file because of course it would be. Alright, so we're gonna go so in this div we're gonna add link rel equals I don't think I need to do that. I want to do this in the header. We'll try that first, and then if it doesn't work, we'll change it around because the best way to learn is to break things. Okay. And then equals I'm not sure if it matters what we call that. We're going to find out here pretty quickly. And then href is equal to our styles.css. Great. So now we're going to go to our styles, and I'm just going to double check what we had wanted. It was the div. So we can basically just copy exactly what this says. We can say div, and then we wanted a red background, white text. So color is equal to white, background color is equal to red. Font size 32 pixels. So I'm just going to scroll up to font size. There we go. Font size, font size 32 pixels. I'm just going to type in here aligned, aligned, text align, center. Wow, sometimes it is very straightforward. And then I'm gonna see if it says anything about bold, or if I have any notes on bold. That would have been smart. I have notes on color. I apparently forgot to use the back side of the page. So much fun. Nope. I did not take notes on how to bold, because I did not prepare myself for this moment. So, just gonna scroll up. Okay, that's still talking about specificity, inheritance, rule order, external, internal, inline, and we will come back because that will be very helpful later, because yeah, because we'll need help. I will need help doing inline and internal instead of external, because I think I've only ever done external CSS. Anyway, font weight is our next one, so font weight, and then this is going to be bold. So that should be our first element. So I'm gonna save this and then git add all, and then git commit -m, create, oh, I want it capitalized, create style.css add div style. There we go. We have contributed. So that was all for our div element. So we're just going to double check. Our background is red, our text color is white, our font size is 32 pixels, we are aligned in the center, and it is bold. So we're good to go there, and then we're going to go back to our index.html, and then this internal method will have a green background, white text, and a font size of 18. So I'm going to go and see. It's going to be a lot of scrolling here, just bear with me. External, internal, all right. So here we are going to add I guess it's in our header, so we're going to add to our header style, and then this is just for the P element. So P curly brackets, and then we're going to say our color and then I want to check our color is white, background is green, font size 18. So color is white, background color is green, and then font size is 18 pixels. Great. Just going to save that, and then we're going to go back down to inline, and then this will be directly in our button which I am so grateful that they made our button for us, because I now know how to make a button. I would not have known how to make that before. So we want an orange background and a font size of 18. So button style equals color, background color. We didn't have a regular font color, background. Oh, if I can spell. Background color. What did they want? They wanted it to be orange. Background color is orange. Orange. Oh, helps if I have that a semi. No, that's supposed to be a colon. That's supposed to be a semicolon. And then font size is equal to 18 pixels. We're just going to save that, and we're going to git add all, git commit with the message, and we're going, oop, helps if my spelling today is not good. Git commit message of add internal and inline style elements. And then we're going to git push origin main, update our forked repo. Should be good to go. Then I'm just going to bring up a terminal, look on the desktop, cd desktop, then cd CSS exercises 01 CSS methods. Oy vey. CD CSS exercises with an S 01 CSS methods. That worked. That would be why. Okay, CD foundations. I got ahead of myself. There we go. Okay. Oh, CD 01 CSS. We love a good time. Google Chrome index.html. And hopefully this will open up. Oh no! So there we go. Okay, so my link was just wrong. My href was linked to the wrong place, but we got it fixed now. Looking pretty okay. It's not how I personally would style my page, but you know, it's how they wanted us to, so we did it. I'm just gonna save what I just did. So git add dot, git commit message, fix href to style.css. Git push origin main. And we did it! Alright, and then I'm going to exit out because I now know how to fork a repo. That was exercise 1. So we used all 3 methods. We properly linked to the external CSS file. Had to redo that, but we got it there. Then the div element does have the external, the p element does have the internal, and the button has the inline. So we can go back out to foundations, and then we're going to cd foundations, and then cd o2 class ID selectors. Hopefully I spelled it right. Yes, I did. All right. So code dot. Because we're finished with that first one. Okay. Now I'm going to click into here so I can read it from the README in the nice text page in the browser because it's easier. I guess the README probably has the same information, huh? Yeah, we can do it in here. Just gotta make this a little bigger. Alrighty. Will this make you way big? Yes, it will. Alright. So class and ID selectors, knowing how to add class and ID attributes to HTML elements as well as use their respective selectors is invaluable. It's important to practice using them. There are several elements in HTML file provided. This one here. Great. Which you will have to add either class or ID attributes to, as noted in the outcome image below. So you will then have to add rules in the CSS file provided. So they have a CSS file here. Amazing, beautiful and empty. Using the correct selector syntax. Look over the outcome image carefully and try to keep in mind which elements look similarly styled classes and which may be completely unique from the rest ID, and which ones have slight variation from others, potentially multiple classes there. It isn't entirely important which class or ID values you use, as the focus here is being able to add the attributes to use the correct selector syntax to style elements. That was a long sentence. For the colors in this exercise, try using non-keyboard values. So we're going to try using RGB, hex, or HSL. The properties you need to add each element are as follows. So to all odd numbered elements, we're going to add a light pink background, a list of fonts containing Verdana, Deja Vu Sans, and then sans serif with as a background. To the second element, we're going to add blue text and a font size of 36. The third will be a font size of 24 pixels. The fourth element is a light green background, 24 pixels, and bold. So in VS Code, you can change which format colors are displayed in RGB, hex, and HSL by hovering over the color value in the CSS and clicking the top of that pop-up that appears. That's nice. So note, if your task is to add a font to some of these items, your browser's font might be different than the one displayed As long as you confirm that those are being applied to the right lines, any differences are okay. So desired outcome is listed here, and then do the odd numbered. Okay, that's a self-check for later. So just going to check in our HTML, and they've already linked our style sheet. There seems to work okay. Cool. So I'm just going to remember how to add a class identifier. It's with a dot. So a class with an HTML element, and then call with the dot. So p class equals odd, class equals even. Oh, and I can also just, I'm supposed to do all odds, and I could just use p. Yeah. I'm gonna just write down so I don't have to keep tabbing back and forth. No, I don't need, that's fine. So, all of our odd numbered elements, we're gonna say, and I just want to double check how that looked. Page up. Okay, so for all of the odd ones, yeah, I'm just gonna delete that. For now, I can come back and re-add it later, but I'm gonna, first things first, you know? First things first. So for all of my paragraphs, I want a copy, paste, and then I'm gonna just look up how to comment in CSS. Okay. Great. I love a good comment. Okay, so for all of our P elements, we are going to have a background color of pink. What did it say about the... In VSCode, you can change format in which there it is by hovering over the value in the CSS and clipping. Okay. Hover, pop out, RGB, hover, RGB. Great. And I'm actually going to change to a slightly different. No. I did it. Alright, and then we are going to text font. Just font? Font. Great. Font will be Verdana. Then I'm going to check how they did page up. Font size. Sorry, I know that the scrolling is a little intense. Inheritance, rule order. Is it above? Type selector, specificity. Okay. So font family can be a single value or a comma separated one. So we're going to change this to font family instead. So Verdana. And I'm going to check if it needs to be in quotation marks or not. So it looks like it does. So Verdana in quotation marks. Deja vu, another quotation marks. Deja vu sans, and then sans serif as our backup. So I'm going to save that, go back to the README, and then for our second element, we'll want blue text. So I'm just going to copy this one, turn the music down. Sorry, it gets a little distracting. I know it is nicer to have the music on, though. It's just getting a little distracting sometimes for me. So I'm going to just wrong one. Boop. Paste, and then like that. And then I'm going to add a class is equal to 2. And then in style, I'm going to call on .2. And delete that white space and add some white space before .2. There we go. Then here we're going to have a text color. So color will equal blue. And then font size will equal 36 pixels. It's going to be pretty big. Pretty big. Why is this like this? What did I do wrong? color blue. But it doesn't do this thing. Can I maybe, yeah, I can change this to the RGB and then I'll just copy these. And change this back to my pink color that I liked. Yeah, like that is good. It's not exactly what it was, but it's better than it was. Save. So that was class 2. Then in our README, for our third element, we're supposed to add copy this. So I'm going to add our comment. And that is going to be .3, which does not exist yet, but it will. So in our index, I'm going to say p class 3, and then save, and then go back here and say font size is equal to 24 pixels. Then finally, for our fourth and final element, we will need these attributes. Copy. And then this time I'm gonna do an ID, you know, cause why not? Other than the fact that we're not supposed to use them. But 4 is gonna be our name for that one. .4 hash 4, and then I'm just gonna come down here and add our comment, just so that it's really easy to remember as we're making this. So yeah, we're gonna have a background color of light green. This aquamarine looks nice, so I'm going to say that. Hover, and then I'm going to click on the RGB. We'll cycle through until it's RGB again. Great. Then we are going to have a font size of, what was it, 24 pixels? Yes. And then a font weight of bold. We're going to save that, and then in our terminal, just gonna, ooh, what are the problems? Gonna ignore those for now. Google Chrome index.html. HTML. So it is not doing the thing that we want it to do, it looks like. We'll see if it was because they were integers instead of strings. So we'll say 2, 3, 4. And then we'll go back to here and Google Chrome. I just want to save this. Okay. Index.html. Let's see if it does it this time. Okay, yeah, so it didn't like it because it was integer. I used integers instead of strings. So good to know. Classes and IDs must be in strings, not in numbers, so I cannot cheat by using numbers. But that's fine. That's totally fine. It's whatever. But that was good. I think that looks how we want it to look. I'm just gonna read through our self-check one more time. Our self-check, so the odd number p elements share class. Yes. Do the even numbered div elements have unique IDs? No, I did not implement it that way, so I will go and change it, I guess. So they should have unique IDs. So div, instead of class, I'm going to call this ID. And then I'm going to go in here, and instead of having a dot, I need to now have a hash. We'll save that and then reload our page. This should still act the same. Why are you like this? So div ID is 2, hash 2. Why did you work before but not now? Yeah, I don't quite understand why it's not working. Because we have our hash 2, and then the rest of this looks the same. Blue text and a font size, and neither of those things are showing. Will it work again if I change this back to a class though? Class is equal, and then dot. Try that. So it works if it's a class, but not if it's an ID. Why does it not work if it's an ID? ID. And I'm just going to retype all of this in case it needs it. ID equals 2. Then we're going to put a hash here. Save. Save a few more times. Why? What am I doing wrong? It's weird because it's not even... I'm slightly confused. They look exactly the same. Maybe I'll just... Why does it work when it's a class, but not an ID? Okay, now it's not working for the ID or the class. Which makes me think that it was something that I was doing as far as syntax. Okay, now it's back to working. So I didn't like that I had a weird name in there. I'm going to change this one first. Div class ID equals save. Save, 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 save. Hash. Save, 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 save. I really am not sure what is different. Oh, don't do that. Cancel. It's working now, I guess. I'm just gonna check by changing this font size 24 and see if that actually impacts this. Okay, so it's working now for whatever reason. I don't know what I was doing wrong before, how I fixed it. It's just gonna be an eternal mystery. But we did. We fixed it. Hash 2 ID equals 2. Great. Okay. So I think according to the README, they each have unique IDs. Does number 3 have multiple classes? I can give it another class. Because I didn't call on all of the odd numbers with an odd class. I just called on all of the P's because that was more efficient. But we can give it class equals 3 and equals odd. And just make sure that still works. Yay. Still works. So I'm just going to come down here and say git add all, git commit -m, the message being complete TOP lesson 2. Git push. Yay! More T. So, here I'm going to CD out into foundations, and then I'm going to CD into, I'm going to list what is in there so that I can check it out. We're going to go into lesson 3, so CD 03 dash grouping dash selectors. And then I'm going to say code dot here. That'll open up another Visual Studio. So I'm going to exit out of this one. I'm not sure that I'll make it through all of these, all 6 exercises, and I'm fairly certain that I'm not going to make it through all of our assignments for today, because in addition to finishing all 6, we'll need to go back into the Odin recipes index.html and use an external CSS page to style it, which won't take very long, but we'll see how far we get. We'll just see how far we get. Okay. We're going to build off a little bit. We're going to build a little off of the previous episode in which we added multiple classes to a single element in order to apply 2 different rules to it. So I kind of cheated by just using the P element to call on all of the P elements instead of assigning them a class odd, because I wanted to be lazy. So I didn't go in and add to each and every one. But now I'm gonna turn this up just slightly. Okay. Now we are going to look at our index.html. Looks like they have 2 buttons in here. I'm going to see if there's anything else that they need. So I'm going to copy these and bring all of it over. So instead of having a single element with 2 different rules applied, you're instead going to give 2 elements to each a unique class name. Then add rules for styles that both elements share, as well as their own unique styles. Make sure you take a good look at the outcomes page below to see exactly what is unique about each element and what both elements have in common. So this will help you further practice adding classes using class selectors. Be sure to add the class attribute in the HTML file. For the remainder of these exercises, the format of any color is entirely up to you. We trust you'll practice using different values. The properties you need to add are a black and white colors for the first element, a yellow background for the second element, and then for both a font size of 28 pixels and a list of fonts containing Helvetica Times New Roman with sans serif as a fallback. So we're going to go into our index.html. We're going to say class equals, we're going to say 1, and we're going to say all, and then we are going to say class, and then this is going to be 2 and all. We're going to save that, go into our style sheet, and we're going to call on, what did I name it? Yes. 1, then we'll have this, but I'm also going to go ahead and do 2 with this, and then all with this, and then put our rules down here. So first element, we want a background color of black. So I want that to be like this. And then we want a color of white. And I want it in the same format, so like that. Then for our second element, we want a yellow background, so background color is going to be yellow. Great. And then for all, we want font size to be in pixels, so I'm going to do that to just get rid of the drop down, and then 28 is our number of pixels, and then our font family is going to be Helvetica times New Roman, and then our background is going to be sans serif. We're going to save that and then try to open up Google Chrome index.html and see if we did it right. So looks like they have the same font to me, and the font looks like the same size, and we do indeed have our black background with white text and our yellow background with default black text. I'm just going to go back to the README. So does each element have a unique class name? Yes. And then did you use the grouping selector for styles that both elements share? So I used all, but I didn't use the asterisk. I guess I could do that instead. So I could just do asterisk. Where is that asterisk? And then we'll save. Double check that I have not broken this. I can't tell if they're the same or not. That's fine with me. We'll say that's fine. And then, did you make separate rules for the styles unique to each element? Yes, I did. I'm just going to open up our picture. So the font is actually different. So I'm going to change this back. Oops. I'm going to change this back to .all. And see if that fixes it. So we're going to refresh. They do still look the same to each other, but I don't know if it is the right. I'm going to change this to 18. To see if it changes this. It does. Okay, so we're good. We're good then. And then I'm going to change this to an asterisk to see if that still changes it. Asterisk, and then back to 28. Okay. So we're good. We are still good. All right. So yes, yes, and yes. And then this time I actually am going to look at the solution. So solution would be inverted or fancy, and then CSS, inverted, fancy. Oh, I see, said the brown mouse. Okay. The blind mouse said I see. Sorry. Inverted and then fancy. So I can do .1, .2, save, and then this should still work fine. Still works. Okay. So I'm going to say git add all, git commit -m, message is complete, top lesson 3. Spell commit correctly. Git commit -m complete top lesson 3. Git push. Okay. I'll go ahead and exit out of that one. I think we'll do one more and then call it good to go. I'm just going to check my time here and make sure that I'm still... Okay, that's good. Cool. Group selectors, we should, yeah. So our commit message is in there. Beautiful. Foundations. We're back to foundations. So it's going to be, so cd ... We're going to go back out to foundations and then cd. This is going to be O4 chaining selectors, then code dot. Also, if anyone has suggestions for my style, I just picked red because it's kind of my favorite. I like it. But if it's annoying and anyone's like, Oh my goodness, please, my eyes. Just let me know and I can change it back to the like regular default like dark theme. Because I know that red is not for everybody. It just is one of my favorite colors, so it's what I chose. But I'm more than happy to change it. So credits for the images in the exercise go to Katho Matodo, thank you, and Andrea Piacquadio. I'm so sorry for butchering your name, but thank you for your photos. With this exercise, we've provided you a completed HTML file, so you will only have to edit the CSS file. Again, so great. Let's see if they have even the class. They even have the classes. Wow. For this exercise, it's more important to understand how chaining different selectors works than to actually add the attributes. So we will have to add, we have 2 images for you to style, each with 2 class names, where one of the class names is shared. The goal here is to chain the selectors for both elements so that each have a unique style applied, despite sharing a class selector. For example, you want an element that has both X and Y to have one set of styles, while an element with X and Z has a completely different set of styles. We will include the original images as well, so that you can see how the styles you'll be adding look in comparison, so don't add any styles to them. Properties you need to add to each element are: make the element with both avatar, I'm going to copy this so I can paste it into my CSS file. So make the element with both avatar and proportioned 300 pixels wide, then give it a height so it retains original proportions. Don't hardcode in a pixel value for the height. Got it. Then make the element both with the avatar and distorted classes 200 pixels wide and make its height twice as big as its width. So here we should hardcode. Excuse me. I'm just going to go back to Odin right quick to double check how I do the sizing for an image. That's rule order inheritance. Oh, and class.secondClass. Image height and width. Awesome. So we'll have our specifier and then height. I want to copy and paste our rules first. So here is this, and then I'm going to do another one. Syntax for photo sizing. Okay, so we're gonna do dot avatar dot proportioned. We're going to make that height auto, and width is going to be 300 pixels. pixels. And then we're going to do avatar dot distorted height. We want it to be twice as high, so 200 times 2 pixels. And I'm just playing around. I just want to see if it'll do it. Width is 200 pixels. Now I'm going to go to my terminal. I'm going to say Google Chrome index.html. I am thinking that this didn't work right. So I'm gonna do this by doing the math myself instead of trying to be clever. And then we'll try this again. Yeah. So I'm gonna see if it will do this without the parentheses. Times 2. No. So I can't get fancy with CSS, unfortunately. I like the sunglasses and the hat. Very cute. Okay, I'm going to call this good. I'm going to go back to our README and check. So did we properly chain class selectors? Yes, we did. Did the proportion retain its original dimensions? Yes. And does the distorted end up looking squished and distorted? Yes, it does. So we're going to save this to git add all, git commit with message complete TOP lesson 4. We did it, y'all. Git push. Still looking good on time, so we will go ahead and exit out of this. We're going to go into here. We're going to cd up into foundations and then cd down into, what is it called? Oh, 05. CD 05 dash descendant dash combinator. Great. We'll open our README. Why do I have 2 terminals open? Great. And I'm going to clear that because I don't like when it's all. Yeah. Okay. We're in our README. I'm going to drink some more tea. Okay, understanding how combinators work can become a lot easier when you start playing around with them and see exactly what is affected by them versus what isn't. The goal of this exercise is to apply styles to elements that are descendants of another element while leaving elements that aren't descendants of that element unstyled. So you can use either type or class selectors for this exercise. Use whichever you feel you want to practice with more. The HTML file is set up, so no need to edit anything in it. such that any combination of selectors will work. So if you're feeling adventurous, you can even try combining a type and class selector for the descent combinator. The properties you need to add are only the P elements that are descendants of the div element should have a yellow background, red text, and a font size of 20p and center aligned. So we're going to go in here. So only the P elements. P div. No, they had a explanation of this. So cascade I kind of remember them saying something about pdiv because pdiv is not actually a okay, so it would just be space. So P space div P elements that are descendants of div. So I did that backwards. So div would be first and then P. And then I want this below. Tab. So only the P elements that are descendants of the div elements should have a yellow background. So background color will be equal to yellow. And this time, instead of this type, we're going to have it be HSL. And I want it to be kind of this more like a school bus yellow. Cool. And then red text, so color equals red HSL, just so that we're on the same page with everything. And then a font size of 20 pixels. And then aligned text align center. We're going to save. We're going to open our terminal and we're going to say Google Chrome index.html. Let's look at it. And it looks like we did it correctly without even looking at the HTML document. So that's great. I'm gonna git add all, git commit -m complete top lesson 5. Was that 5 already? Git push origin main, just so that I'm like equally trying both queues, you know. Then I had turned the music down to really low. Sorry about that. Okay. And we'll probably be wrapping up here in just a little bit, because I did the stream earlier today because I have an interview happening, which I'm super excited about. Not sure that I needed to tell you, but that way I have time to change, get there, feel good about it, and all of that. So we're going to cd into 06 cascade fix. Open a new instance of VSCode, exit out of our old one. That's getting old really quickly, which is why I should use the bash terminal instead of the in VSCode terminal. Great, they already have our index made for us. So this is a final exercise for the CSS Foundation, so it's going to give us a closer look at the cascade, in particular rule order. So both HTML files and CSS files are filled out, so instead of adding any rules for ourselves, we will be editing. So we're gonna fix it. So we should not edit HTML file or any actual styles in CSS. There are just a few elements that have some specificity or rule order issue in the provided CSS file. It's up to us to figure out which is affecting an element and how to fix it. You can edit the CSS file by adding, removing, or editing selectors for a declaration block, or by moving declaration blocks around. There are multiple ways to solve this problem. We did our best to include all possible solutions for each element. Issues with the cascade can be the bane of their existence for many when it comes to CSS. You won't become a cascade expert from this exercise alone, and there are other ways to deal with these issues. It is still super helpful to see how these issues affect our final styles and why it's important to order rules carefully. So I'm going to exit out of this one, exit out of this one, bring up my terminal, and then just open. Is that supposed to be a dash? I think it's supposed to be a dash. HTML dot. That way I can see what's going on. So did I have things to fix? Did I have specific things to fix? Okay. We're not supposed to edit the HTML file at all. And then if we add, do they still target valid HTML elements? So I'm going to make this smaller so I can look at both at the same time. Go into our style sheet and then look at this. So both para and small para. Let's fix that one first. So for both para and small para, we want the color to be this bluish, or this, we want the color to be black, which it is, and the font weight to be 800, which would be bold. And then for small para, we want, so I might just move this in front here. And then see if that does anything. So nothing yet. So body, everything should have the font family Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. Looks like it does. Yeah. So our specificity should be calling this class, because that's the only one. Small para. Let's see if there's one applying to all P, all paragraphs. No. So we do want the confirm button to be bold. I've moved on to the buttons because I'm confused by the paragraphs. So maybe I say, oh, that's nice that it does that. Maybe I say like P space. Now they're both that way. I see. I understand. I understand. So I'm not supposed to do this one at all, to change this one at all. But what I can do is take this way, right? Removing or editing, okay. So I can take this one out. So this makes both of them smaller. What if I do that? What if I do that? And then that. Okay. We did it. We did it. So adding the combinator instead of the descendant, because it's not a descendant, it is both. It is a combinator. So great. Confirm looks good. Cancel looks good. Actually no. Confirm doesn't have the right background color. So all buttons. Great, there we go. Fix that one. Then dot child. So let's look at that. Dot child is just the smaller child div with extra bold text. So we're going to use the descendant, so it would be div dot text dot child. Let's see if that works. That's great. I don't know if there's anything wrong with this or not. So I'm going to check the, I think we might be done. So I'm going to check the picture to see what that looks like. So I think we look okay. I think this looks pretty similar. So I'm a paragraph, extra bold text. I'm a smaller paragraph with extra bold text. I'm a div with thin text. Yeah. I'm going to change this color to red just to be sure that we're getting the right outcome here. Okay. Great. Okay, so I think we're good. I think this is good. Because it does look slightly different, but I think it's similar enough. And we got it to do what we wanted it to do. So I'm going to call that good. And I'm also going to call it here because now it's time for me to start on my interview prep, but not before. Git add all, git commit, -m, complete. Great. CD. I feel like we got a lot done today, and I'm very excited about it. I think I potentially say I'm excited too often, but I'm still fine with that. Because we finished all of our foundations lessons, and yeah. So our next our next task for next time will be to edit our Odin project's recipe page. So we're going to resize that image, add some style elements. It's going to be fantastic. But that's for next time. So I will see you in the next one.